What is good, guys, and welcome to today's video. This hair is starting to get long and look ridiculous, but it's okay, I don't mind it. We'll get a haircut later on soon. But all of that aside, today we have a bunch of work to get done on the Skyline. I started hearing some really weird, funky noises in the front end, which I used to hear when like my traction arms or caster arms would get a bit loose. The old D-Max ones would loosen themselves all the time. It was a constant issue. And then you'd start to hear all these noises when turning or drifting, as well as just braking in general day-to-day driving. And it was just, you had to tighten the nut, right? Something's going on here. I had a quick look at my caster arms. They're all fine. There's not a problem there. So something else is worn out and loose. So we need to jack up the front end and work out what the hell's going on there. Constant issues with that you're just always going to have when you've got a drift car that you daily and drive around, just because when you've got angle kits and things like that, you've got a lot of aftermarket arms there. And when you're just turning and parking and things like that, that does kind of like tweak things around and stuff. And eventually stuff does get loose. It's just a fact, which is why you should always mark your bolts. Another thing, I started hearing this weird noise coming from this rear end, this side of the car. I hope it's not a bearing. It could be, but I think it actually more so sounds like something's fallen off maybe my brake shoe and it's just rolling around inside the drum. If you don't know, Skylines have like a completely independent handbrake system, which is brake shoes. And I have these really nice Project Mu like drifting brake shoes that lock up the rear end instantly the moment you just like lift the e-brake with your pinky finger. And I think something may have broken off or something, so we need to get into there. But literally, when you're driving, if you got the window down, all you hear is like this tick, 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 tick. Once you get up to speed, it kind of disappears, but only at low speeds it makes that. So we'll sort that out as well. And the other thing is Darren has been on it like a boss. And he just sent me another file to help dial out the idle some more. We think there could be an issue with like a pinched vacuum line going to my map sensor or something. So we're gonna apply this file, see if there's any issues and try and diagnose that. I also just bought some new vac line in case that's a problem to replace that whole line, because it's not leaking under boost. So I've done boost leak checks to try and find if there's an issue with any vac lines, but it seems like it's leaking under vacuum, which can happen. Just because something isn't leaking under boost doesn't mean that it won't leak under vacuum. So I don't have a smoke tester, and I'm not a vapor, so I can't do a smoke test on my car. But in other news, have you got your SAMMIT flight tags yet? I know this is the longest intro ever, but I have to plug these. We have about 500 of these left, so make sure you go to the online store and get yourself some. I can't speak for some reason, but we got packs of 4 of these now for like 20 bucks. Go get yourself some. Every bit of profit that we're making off this is going back into the most insane, this is a pretty bold statement, but I'm pretty sure I'm accurate here, the most insane JDM Skyline build coming to YouTube. This has never been filmed before. The in-depth type of footage we're going to be able to get with the companies that we're going to be working with, going into their workshops and being able to film them building these kinds of engines and stuff that have all, you know, originated from Japan essentially. So being able to show you guys insider stuff like that, I'm really excited about, and has never been shown on the platform before, so I'm pumped about that. Anyways, that aside, get yourself some SAMMIT flight tags, link in the description. Let's get started with the video. This is probably my least favorite part about jacking up the front of my car. This thing's always in the way. Like, I can never get a full, when I start the jack off, it takes me like 1,000 little pumps before I get it, and this is a twin pump one as well. But it's pretty beat up from like when I was driving at Ebisu and stuff, and you can see it's like held together with tape here. I've been thinking about just taking a flappy wheel and just cutting it on this line the whole way along, like what my old bar used to be like. I think it won't look too bad. You just won't have this lower lip here. It'll end here. I don't know. We might end up doing that if it gets like destroyed in the middle here. It's already about to break apart. Can't complain though. These bars are only $130 on Yahoo Auctions here. Anyways, let's get this thing in the air, get some jack stands under it, see if we can figure out what's loose in the front end here and causing us problems. So I've been under the front here now for probably a good 30 minutes, just bulk checking and going over everything, and I can't find a single thing loose. One thing I have noticed though is it seems like my sway bar moves a fair bit. You can kind of see there that it's like rubbing and swaying between, which is normal, I guess, to some degree. So I don't know if I need to replace the bushes there or anything, but I think a moving sway bar is pretty normal. Like when it goes from side to side, I think that's kind of normal. You can see there that the sway bar's been doing that there as well. But everything looks fine. The only other thing I can think of is maybe the bushes in the lower control arms here could be stuffed. So we might get some new ones of those and put those in. But like rack ends, ball joints, everything looks fine. Everything's nice and tight, nothing's loose. So I'm pretty stumped. So there's that. I don't really know where else to look, but like the noise that it makes, it literally just sounds like something's loose and only happens when it's on brake. So I wonder if it's just like, you know, the spherical bearings and stuff like that that are up in my, what do they call this? I guess this is kind of like a upper control arm. There's spherical bearings in here, and I suspect what's happening is it's just moving, which is what it's supposed to do. And if it's moving, I mean, I would expect to see like contact marks or something there, but I don't. So I don't know, maybe it is just those bushings are worn out or something somewhere that I just can't see. So we might have to actually pull the whole front end apart. There's some rubber everywhere. Man, we had some good times, didn't we? Jeez, we warmed that up a fair bit. Man, I love this car so much. It's literally like such a good drift car. Anyways, all that aside, you can see my power steering collar up in there. Hey. Anyways, yeah, I can't figure out what it is. And it literally happens like when you pull up and put on the brakes, and like it just feels like the front end kind of shifts and moves. And like nothing up here has come undone. All the markings are still in alignment. I mean, I don't think it's the bush up in here. That looks fully intact still. So I don't know. Maybe I have to put this on a hoist and just pull everything apart and check it. Which is going to suck because that's like a full day thing. But yeah, something's definitely not too happy. The only noise I can get it to make is when I bottom out lock here. Like if we just pull the lock all the way, that noise happens, but that's just it hitting my bump stops. I can't get anything else to happen. So like if I'm just driving in a straight line and I put my foot on the brake and like the car kind of comes to that stop, you just kind of feel it in the steering wheel and everything. I don't know if any of you guys have any ideas, please let me know. I can't find anything wrong. Like I move this side to side, there's no play. I move this up and down, there's no play. So I know the hubs are all fine, and I just can't replicate the issue at all. So I'm thinking it's just the actual like spherical like that's just the power steering rack actually moving. That's fine. I mean, unless there's something internally wrong with my power steering rack, but you'd like feel that even more, right? And it only happens when I'm like turning or coming to a complete stop. There's no play side to side. There's no play top to bottom. Like everything's fine. I don't know, man. I'm confused, guys. If you have any advice, let me know. I might shoot an email to GK Tech and see if maybe you're meant to get some extra noise from the spherical bearings and stuff and joints that are in everything now. I mean, everything's tight. Like there's nothing that's loose at all. Everything's all lined up, hasn't budged. It's perfect. So nothing's loose. At least that's a positive. I'm just wondering if maybe I set up everything wrong and maybe didn't do my tolerances right or something, or torque specs right when I was setting up the spherical bearings. I don't know. Or if we need to figure that out, but I'm just wondering. I'll just move this backwards and forwards a bit. What is that? That's the other side hitting the bump stop. I wonder if it is the power steering rack. Like it doesn't feel like there's movement in there. Like it feels like it's moving the whole rack. Yeah, it is. There's no play in there, I don't think. They've got like pretty much new rack ends in there, but if something was wrong with like the worm drive internally in the power steering rack, that could be the issue. But I don't feel it. So for now, I'm completely stumped what's going on in the front end, so we might need to get Okachan to look at it. But yeah, I'll shoot an email off to the guys at GK Tech and see if they have any advice for me. They know this kind of stuff a lot better than I do. I don't really know my front end suspension stuff like super well, especially on Skylines, because it's the whole double wishbone setup, which is like ultimately super confusing, because this is how you get your camber, and these is with this upper arm here and stuff. And yeah, I don't know. Got some heat into these puppies. Look at that. Love me these Valino tires. They're seriously the best things ever to run on the fronts. Also, their tires are normally the best to run on the rear. I'm going to start using those on the rear because they last way longer. Anyways, let's jack up the rear now, put the front down, try and work out what this funny noise is happening in the rear end. All right, so I got the rear jacked up, and you guys are going to love this. So I was spinning the wheel, and you can hear it, right? Listen to this. Hear it? You hear that clicking noise? Hear that? Anyways, so the little clicking noise, believe it or not, is just this. That's all it is. So I'm just going to tighten this pin so it stops it from moving around. I can't believe that I was freaked out over just that. I could have just figured that out by tapping it. Look at it. That's all it is. As it rotates, it clicks down on itself. Oh man, I'm kind of relieved that that's all that was. Where are my brake pads in the rear at? Oh, we need to order new brake pads pretty soon for this. We might order those. Yeah, I'm going to definitely order those. I've been doing a fair too many burnouts on this recently at the track and stuff like that, and been doing a bit of left foot braking, so that's probably attributing to that. This side's not any better too. We'll order some new rear brake pads for that. The rotors definitely need changing as well, but we'll get a bit more life out of these until we upgrade to some nice Project Mu ones. I'm actually pretty relieved that there's nothing crazy in the rear end because I don't have to take the wheel off, I don't have to do anything. I just need to get a hammer and tap that pin a bit so it's a little bit more jammed on there, and she'll be right. I've just messaged GK Tech because they're the experts with suspension and things like that, and as you guys know, I've got a lot of their parts on here, so they'll probably be able to tell me and help me, like steer me in the right direction of what could be causing that extra bit of movement in the front end. But right now, I'm going to do a live call with Darren. He's going to jump in. We're going to try and figure out what's going on. We're wondering now if maybe my booster has a leak or something. So yeah, we got to try and work out why this thing just won't idle happy. It looks like there's a vacuum leak. I've gone over everything, can't find a vacuum leak. The thing doesn't leak under boost, so we're thinking maybe it's the brake booster, so we're going to play around with that and see what we can find. So tighten this up a little bit more so it should stop making that noise while driving. And Darren is currently remoted in right now, trying to get my idle sorted out, sounding a lot better, no hunting and things like that, and just try and figure out why it's hunting to begin with. We checked the brake booster, that seems to be pretty much normal and fine, so we think something else is definitely up. But he's going to do his best and try and work out what's going on from his side of things, which is actually, it's pretty cool. Like, he's able to just do whatever he wants with this remotely. If he needs to listen to the engine, he'll call, listen to it, figure it out. It's pretty cool. I hope I can get to that level one day. So it's gotten super dark. Let me head inside and give you guys a quick update. So not the most entertaining video in the world. I definitely didn't think it was the most entertaining things for me to be doing today, and it may not have seemed that I was super hyped, but I am glad that I sorted out that noise from the rear right-hand side. It's been bashing my brain in for so long, and just to know that it's just a little clip there in the pin. So yeah, bash that, made it nice and tighter around the axle, and it doesn't make that noise whatsoever when driving anymore, so that's a plus. Second thing, front end noise kind of seems to have gotten worse. When I was out doing a drive with Darren remoted into the laptop, doing some changes to the idle tune, trying to get things dialed in there. He loves the fact that he actually gets to do a full proper cold startup tune, because in Australia it never gets cold enough for a proper cold start to be put into the ECU. So he's like, man, this is awesome. I actually get to do a proper cold startup tune because it's like -degrees when you wake up in the morning and start your car. So he's enjoying that. But all of that aside, we just had the car sitting on a hill in neutral while he was doing stuff, and I would just let off the brake, back on the brake, and every time I'd come back on the brake, you'd feel the whole front end, like both sides, just kind of be like bang, bang, and like shifting and moving. So there's definitely some bush that's loose there. I'm going to take the car to Yashio factory tomorrow because that kind of moves into the second thing. There's definitely some vacuum leak somewhere, or if there is 100% no vacuum leak, which is pretty unlikely, it could also be an issue with injectors, spark plugs, or something else going on there. But we're pretty sure it's a vacuum leak somewhere, and we're pretty sure it's something to do with the brakes, because when I'm pumping the brakes, we're seeing a pretty massive fluctuation in idle. So either booster diaphragm could be damaged, or the one-way check valve. I'm pretty confident, and after talking with Okachan on the phone just a while ago, we think it's the one-way check valve, because I did also notice that sometimes when I'm driving really heavily and we're still in boost and I'm braking, like while we're in boost, my brakes are really, really stiff, which would make sense for a failed boost check valve, because if there's boost in the diaphragm in the booster, it's not boosting the master cylinder, which would explain why the pedals feel really stiff and kind of hard. And then when the engine comes out of boost, all of a sudden I get that kind of soft pad feel that has like a lot more, it's a lot easier to push the brakes, right? So that's probably what it is. We're gonna troubleshoot that tomorrow with Oka-chan. I hope you guys still enjoyed this video. I know it's a lot of troubleshooting and stuff, but I really do like showing you guys this because anyone can do this type of troubleshooting, work through a process of elimination to work out what's wrong with their car. Yes, it's time consuming and it can be frustrating, but all you need is, like, I do it in my driveway with just regular tools that anyone can get their hands on with Amazon, hardware stores, all that kind of stuff. So I hope it motivates you guys to be able to sort out those issues that are on your car, those little gremlins like wiring issues and things like that, and just systematically going through everything. And if you think you've gone through everything, you're wrong because you've missed something, or start again. You know what I mean? Like, you can always triple check things, and that's why I like to show you guys that, because everyone struggles with these kind of gremlin issues that always like rattle your brain, and it could be something as simple as just, yeah. You've seen that so many times on the channel now. I can't speak. I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm probably tired, but can we all agree that my hair is just insane? Can we just agree that? I have no idea. Like, this haircut looked so good before, and now that my hair's grown in like 2 weeks, it looks ridiculous. Right, babe?
It looks like Johnny Bravo.
Johnny Bravo. There you go. I haven't heard that. That's a trip down memory lane. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. Get yourself some SAMMIT flight tags. There's lots of them. Buy them. Thanks for watching. Peace out.